I think we're live. Hello,
Woo!
Are we live? Can I see in the chat if we're live?
Hello, EOS Nation.
Hello, hello, EOS Nation.
Hello.
Exactly. So I'm hyped. We're pumped. For the first time, I'm joined here in the EOS Hot Sauce Live with two guests. I have Zach Gold from the EOS Network Foundation coming in. He's also known as the host of the Everything EOS podcast. And I have Daniel Keys here, for CEO of EOS Nation, and also more or less, I would say, like the project manager of Pomelo. He supervised most of the activity there. Hey guys, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hey, thanks for having us. It's great to be back on the hot sauce.
I'm doing great. And just so everyone knows, we are dual streaming this on the Everything EOS channel and on the EOS Nation channel. If you're watching this because you got a push notification, which is why we're doing this, we want this information to get spread far and wide. There's former EOS community members who may not be following anymore. There's people in the EOS community that just aren't paying attention. Hopefully, seeing this Everything EOS video pop up, you clicked it. We kind of rugged you in. We're giving you a hot sauce, but that's all well and good, because I want to point out I haven't been doing Everything EOS lately, not for a while. I've been really busy with EOS Network Foundation. I want to get back to doing some content when I'm able to, but EOS Hot Sauce has been rocking and rolling and hasn't missed a week of content in like 2 years now. So
yeah, it's been a wild ride. There might have been a week or two here and there, but pretty much every single week for what episode is this now?
This is 125. It's
125.
A nice number.
Yeah,
yeah, 125.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So later we have also some giveaways. I have some Pomelo Finis loaded up for claim links. I have a golden Pomelo as a grand prize. We drop these later. We will also open up a little bit for questions from the community. But first, I got something.
We're live now, so we can actually
fundamental stuff. Exactly.
Yeah. Take questions live with the community. We're hanging out with the whole community here. Join the Discord channel, because that's where we're going to be taking questions from if you're not in there already.
That's right, discord.gg/EOS-network.
Yes, we're almost at 1,000 members, I think. And if we're going to cross the 1,000, which is most likely, It would be a nice little rainfall, I guess, like we usually do after the hot sauce.
And this is one week anniversary today, isn't it? Since we launched the server officially.
Exactly.
1,000 members in 1 week. That's pretty good.
That's awesome.
I like it. We're having a good time there. I like it to work there every day, listening to music, see who pops in, see who pops out, casually chatting about some things. Like the voice mics are open now. We had the first Eden open mic there on Monday, which will be a reoccurring event. Later today, we will stream the M&A party at the Metaverse Music Festival. So I'm pumped on this server, trying to get more activity on there, and really it's nice to be there. Things are happening fast in the EOS ecosystem since the EOS Network Foundation is in charge.
That's the thing. Like we stagnated for at least close to 2 years, if not longer, and it's not like we all didn't know a lot of what was missing or what we thought should have happened or could happen, but there just wasn't coordination and sometimes the resources to actually make it happen. So at this point, we're just like executing. It's all about execution, and like that's what's happening. Rapid movements. We funded Eden. They had their first election. Out of that first election, we've got the EOS support team, which is actually managing a ticketing system within the Discord. So you think about the benefit of the Discord that I see is it serves, and I keep saying this publicly, so sorry for being a broken record, but it is the top of funnel for the EOS community. You think about like whenever you first hear about EOS or a new project or a new token, what's one of the first things you do? You typically go to their website, which right now it's still under development for the Network Foundation. And then you join the community. Traditionally, that's been the main EOS Telegram channel. That's the link that you see on CoinMarketCap. That's usually the first destination of where a new potential EOS community member falls. And I don't even spend myself that much time in the main EOS chat because it's not the best channel. Let's just be honest. It's decently moderated compared to how it may have been a year ago, but it it's a single channel. It's got a lot of trolls. It's okay, but the better channels within the EOS ecosystem, I think, are the other channels. Like there's the EOS Nation channel, the EOS Go channel, the former Everything EOS, now EOS Network Foundation channel. There's the Eden Public channel. Like there's all these other channels that are kind of like a hub and spoke around this main EOS channel, but the main EOS channel isn't the best one. And there's no way to find all of those spokes just by going from point A. You can't find point B, point C, point D. Like you have to know someone. You almost need a guide to hold your hand when you enter the EOS ecosystem to show you around and introduce you to the people and things that are creating value. With the Discord channel, it's like a portal into the ecosystem. It's bam, it's in your face. You join the Discord. That's the first touch point of entering the community beyond maybe following something on social media. You enter this Discord, you instantly have access to all of the international communities. There's Korean channel, Chinese channel, there's the EOS Network Foundation channel, there's general EOS channel, there's a random channel to talk about whatever you want. There's a price channel because nobody sold a token in the community from the token sale. So price is fully on topic. And then where I see a lot of value, and it hasn't gotten a lot of adoption quite yet, is the developer discussions. So the main place that EOS.io developers currently congregate, and it's a really good channel on Telegram, is the EOS.io developers channel. It's great. But the problem is that Telegram is like sucking water out of a fire hose. If you miss one day or even a couple hours of discussion, there's no catching back up. Things get lost. And the experts, the people that have learned to navigate, we just got really good at searching things and finding things and forwarding things to our saved messages. But it's hard to keep up. So where I see a lot of value is in the developer groups in the new EOS Discord, once they gain some more adoption. And the reason is because they're organized. It's not just one topic. Like right now, it's all EOS.io development under one roof. But currently, and this is CC32, a lot of his recommendations, and Aaron from Greymass, their recommendations on how the categories should be broken down. So there's front-end development, smart contract development, infrastructure, project showcases, training. And like, for example, in the project showcases channel, it's just a link dump of everyone's GitHub's open source code, sharing this knowledge. It allows, and this is a lot of what the Network Foundation is trying to do as well, is it's leveraging each other and things that we've already built and can build so that we could build on top of the shoulders of giants. If you follow any of the developer channels, or EOS.io developer on Telegram, you often see some developer coming in asking a question, and then another developer coming in saying, I already solved that problem. Here's the link to my GitHub, go check it out. But if that developer's not there, misses that message, or isn't glued to their phone, then that developer seeking out the information's lost. And they might even end up solving the same problem themselves with their own code, even though if they would have just had access to the information of the open source code, they could have probably saved themselves hours, if not days of time. So that's a lot of value I see in the developer channel. But then there's just other things. Like I like the random channel. I like the idea of it because we found each other because we're all EOS community members. But like EOS isn't our entire lives. Like we have different interests, different hobbies. Some people have different views on controversial topics, and that's what the random channels could be used for. And it doesn't kind of clutter up the main channels. And that's one of the issues with the main EOS channel on Telegram, is sometimes you just get off topic and it's just kind of annoying. It's not EOS anymore. Yeah. And there's the music channel. Martin, you want to talk about the music channel? Since it's not just talking about Discord here.
Well, the music channel is my favorite hangout since a week now. So I love to hang out there. But really, the feeling is there. It's all under one roof. It's like all united. The Telegram channels are nice. They have surfed as well. But it's been scattered. It's been more and more scattered and more becoming granular. And people have their little discussions somewhere. And then it's hard to catch up, as you just said. And
yeah, that's my biggest problem. Like
exactly.
Even half an hour, I have to step away for half an hour and come back. It's like, oh, whoa, I'm gone. I'm lost now. I can't catch up anymore.
Right. It's a full-time job trying to catch up. But like when there's an interesting topic, right, in Discord, you can start a thread, right? And the developers talking about one specific thing can create a thread, which is then like basically like forking out a conversation. And that's super powerful in order to structure information, structure communication, which leads to community building. And I think this is what we're trying to do, like restructure our community, but also having new people coming in. We're in a crypto bull market, right? And this is happening. Like there's so many new people entering crypto right now. And if they come discover EOS, like having a home for them where they can come in and welcome, okay, here's your NFT space, here's your whatever developer, here's your support channel, here's your random channel, here's your audio channel. This is all they come in, they start earning their roles, they kind of assign their roles, they're coming up in the ranks, all these kind of things. This is community building, and I really like it. But
we're still in phase 0 too. I can see where this is going to go, and I want it to happen as soon as possible, but it's going to be a process. But like you said, there's so many people, like we're just starting to organize as an EOS community. My goal is to attract, like, yeah, we could fight to try to bring the band back together. A lot of people have left the EOS community over the years. They'll come back when they want. Like, I'm not focused on them. I'm focused on bringing new members to the community, people who have no baggage. They have no bad memories of unmet promises and fulfillment. All they know is that they joined the EOS community last week, and it's been awesome ever since. And there's plenty of opportunities, including like Eden's and Pomelo, which we're going to get into. There's all of these opportunities where if you want to add value to the EOS community, there is numerous opportunities, and Pomelo is going to be one of the biggest ones possible. If you have a skill set or something valuable that you could add to the community, you can now be incentivized to do so. All it takes is you've got to reach a consensus amongst token holders and get them to contribute even a small donation, a couple bucks, $3, $5, whatever they can contribute to your project. It comes down to strength in numbers. If you can convince,
engaging is really the powerful part. You know,
exactly.
Just showing a little bit of support, toss an EOS, and it goes a long way. And like, the vibe you're talking about here reminds me of, like, there's definitely been a change in the atmosphere and the vibe of the community, both in the Discord channel and just broadly. Like, I'm reminded kind of the vibe I felt leading up to the launch of EOS, when there was all this hype for a 4% inflation to worker proposal system, and we were all excited about how, what is the community going to build with, like, what is all the amazing things we can do, all the good that we can do with these resources that will be flowing to the community. And it's been 3 years that we've been waiting for that, and obviously the vibe has been affected as a result. People have been leaving, but it's like we're on the brink of it's here now again. Like, hope has been restored.
It's here. Like, and like we talked about the EOS Network Foundation, like they're pumping, right? The recognition grants, like yesterday, more went out, wave 3 went out, and it makes me so happy seeing all these projects that I had since like 3-4 years. They've been chugging along, working, being loyal, and now they're being recognized. And it's really just the beginning, but that's what's building.
Now they can finally feed their devs a little bit, at least some ramen.
The Oprah meme, like, you get a car. Every 2 weeks, when I've been reaching out to the next wave of grant recipients, I feel like Oprah giving away a car. And these are all like my friends. Like, we've built up this family within the EOS community over the last couple of years. All of these recognition grant recipients, I'd say barely any of them, I'm not messaging them with no chat history. I typically have a long chat history with every single one of these projects who I'm messaging, saying, hey man, you got a minute to talk? Like, congratulations. Thank you so much for supporting the EOS network. I wish I could give you more, but here you go. And please stick around, because there's finally a light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what's been missing from EOS, especially the last year. And you could extend it probably going back to the last 2 years. So what's been lacking is the optimism that the future is going to be brighter than the present. Whenever and you can call it hopium, you can call it whatever you want, but if you don't know what the future brings, or if there's uncertainty, then it makes it really hard to get excited about anything. And that's my goal with the foundation, is to always have something on the horizon in the future that people could look forward to. And it goes the same whether we're talking about crypto or in life. So like, think about it in life. Anytime you have something you're looking forward to, how much easier it is to get through your day. You're going to you got your best friend's wedding coming up in a couple of weeks. You got a vacation coming up in a month. You got something happening sometime in the future. It helps you get through your days because you're like, oh, I'm one day closer to this. That's the vibe that I want to create within the EOS community, is there's always going to be at least one thing, hopefully dozens of things, because of how we're able to scale ourselves horizontally with Pomelo, Eden, direct investments, working groups, sponsorships. We're going to have so many different things working in parallel with different delivery dates, different milestone dates. There's always going to be something to look forward to, some events bigger than others. But that's my goal with the EOS Foundation, is to give you guys those events and to communicate those events to everyone, so that we constantly have something to look forward to, constantly have something to talk about, constantly have things to speculate over. And it's just going to be a great time to be a member of the EOS community. That's what I want to give to the EOS community.
I'm hyped.
I'm hyped.
Absolutely. We're super hyped, obviously. We didn't even get into the topic of the day, which is Pomelo, the big, largest like milestone. Daniel already said it's been like 3-4 years coming. Everybody was expecting like to get funding directly, like through a WPS. This didn't work. Then we had community conferences where we were discussing what we should do with the inflation, which resulted in, oh, let's burn it until we have a system. You know, let's do this. And then we built in Rio, we were discussing like what would be what should a WPS look like, and we were comparing like other models that are potentially. We started working with Addict Lab, and then we went back to the drawing table, and now we finally have Pomelo, and this is about to go live, and I'm super excited that this is around the corner. I think everybody's waiting for it. Yeah. So how
this is our third attempt now. I'm feeling super pumped. You know, this is so 3 years in the making. Like you said, we're on the brink of finally launching this thing. For those of you who followed around the history of the network and EOS Nation and what we've been involved with over the years, like I said, this is our third attempt. When the mainnet first launched, we were involved in building the worker proposal system, the referendum system before the worker proposal system. And the referendum system was, the attempt to build a mechanism to get consensus on how we can get the network to agree, basically, to use that we had 4% going into the savings account, but there was no system in place on launch on how to leverage that 4%. It was collecting in this pot, and no one knew what are the rules for accessing that pot. So we tried to build a system to put some structure around that, to give the token holders the ability to vote on what will be the system for distributing those funds. Never were able to reach kind of the enough consensus among the token holders. Then we moved on to our worker proposal system that we attempted to launch. I guess this would have been about a year later. And that was designed to, again, distribute network funds to grants specifically. This design, though, was going to have we decided at that point, hey, we can't find a consensus mechanism people can agree on. Let's just use DPoS. Let's let the block producers vote basically on who will get the grants. There were some concerns there. We weren't able to reach, again, the consensus of the token holders, of all of the stakeholders that we needed to have bought in. We couldn't get the buy-in to accept that as a fair distribution mechanism. But now we've got Pomelo, and we've reached consensus. We have, the EOS Network Foundation now unlocking this funding, and now they're directing it to things like Pomelo and Eden, and we can start moving.
It's funny because we're 3 years into the EOS network, but very recently we've been executing on things that were expected at
the beginning,
the onset. Yeah, but like, just as there have been failed WPS attempts, there were failed foundation attempts.
Right.
We had the EOS Alliance, we had the EOS DAO, and then we had the Block 1 PBE EOS Foundation that never came to fruition, and no one really knows why. And Now we have the EOS Network Foundation. So the fourth attempt is the charm here. And outside of you guys, I think there's the EOS Commons Fund too. So if you include, I don't know if that was you guys or not, whatever. It's multiple attempts. People have tried this for a very long time. And it's funny because one of them was called the EOS DAO. And the more I'm talking to people about this, EOS doesn't need a DAO because it is a DAO.
It is a DAO, yeah.
It doesn't, like, the foundation is like a higher level of governance than existed before, but EOS has always been a DAO. You have about 1 billion tokens, all decentralized, different people own them, thousands of owners, different tokens. They elect who they want to be the custodians and the guardians of the network, the top 21. Those are the decision makers. Those are the delegates of the network. Each one of those 21 are centralized entities in themselves, but collectively, they're completely decentralized. They've got to collaborate and organize together to make any decisions. That was the highest level of governance structure prior to the EOS Network Foundation. Now with the EOS Network Foundation, it's almost like that top 21 centralized entities working collectively to become decentralized as a group, and they were elected by a decentralized group of token holders. They collectively voted in their leadership, which is the EOS Network Foundation. We are essentially the consensus of the network as the leadership. And as such, because of the way that we were elected, for the first time and the only time in any decentralized protocol or network that I'm aware of, the leadership was elected rather than anointed at the onset of the network. And just as easily as this foundation was elected to be empowered with the resources and leadership and coordination to get things accomplished, it could also be taken away. We are fully accountable to the network. We work for the EOS network, for the EOS token holders. We don't work for shareholders. We work for the EOS token holders, period. And hopefully we're showing in our efforts and our results of what we've done. We don't just talk about what we're going to do, we execute on it. We're going to continue doing that. And we're going to continue spreading ourselves out in parallel because we can't do it alone. This is like the work that needs to be done on the EOS network is more than any single person or single entity can accomplish. It's more than even 21 block producers could accomplish. Like, that's why we have Eden. That's why we have Pomelo. That's why we're sponsoring working groups. We're all collectively working in our fields that we have expertise in, and we're going to work together in parallel to get where we're going under the leadership and the unified vision of the EOS Network Foundation.
And for so long, we were like afraid to, like, we have to do it the right way. And as a result, we just sat and stagnated and didn't do anything. And now with this, like you were saying, like, it's this like bottom up, elected from the token holders. We got the block producers. The block producers elected the foundation. The foundation is now from the top down, giving the again, creating more bottom up opportunities.
Exactly.
With Eden, with Pomelo, with who knows, there may be multiple Edens, who knows what else, the direct funding, the grants, the sponsorships. There's no single point of failure. There's no central, like, we're building a new governance system here on EOS, where instead of you have one government who does everything, we're creating all these little governments with their own scope, all experimenting, doing things differently. You know, Pomelo is distributing funds differently than Eden. Now we get to see what is the difference. They're probably going to be solving different problems. We'll be focused on different parts of the community, and we'll be tools for each other. You know, there's so much synergy. That's when we start allowing all these different experiments really to start happening.
You hit the nail on the head with the top down and bottom up mixture. So the foundation knows the most critical, biggest, most resource intensive things that are missing within EOS. That's where our focus lies. But there's countless smaller things that need to be accomplished, and also things that we're just not even aware of because we don't have eyes and ears everywhere across all cultures. And we don't have that insight of all these different industries and opportunities. That's where the bottom up approach really kicks in. All we need to do is empower the community. The community's strong. The community's talented. The community's smart. They've just never had the missing pieces, which is the resources and the ability to coordinate their efforts. And with Eden and Pomelo, they have that. All the foundation has to do is, here, Eden, here's money. And then Eden, with its election process, takes care of the rest, and it's delegating it all. Same with Pomelo. Pomelo, season 1, $500,000. And out of that $500,000, so many opportunities are going to be created. And right now, in this moment in time, for the very first time in the EOS network's history, there are people being hired to work, or being empowered to work, and being incentivized to work for EOS. Up until very recently, the only way that you could work for EOS is if you were a block producer, essentially. That's the only revenue, I guess, you can get from the network directly. And then the block producers could hire individuals or contractors on a small scale, but there wasn't that coordination. You couldn't get 21, 30, however many block producers to collectively put their funds in a pool. EOS has always needed better marketing, like hosting conferences, to do these types of efforts, hackathons. You'd have to get all of these block producers to all contribute funds into a pool. Some of them would, some of them wouldn't, and some just would ignore the asks. There wasn't coordination. And that's what the foundation brings. Is like, we know we need this stuff. I think everyone knew we needed this stuff. Like, we haven't had a proper EOS event in a couple of years. COVID had something to do with that. But there was also just not a centralized touch point either, because Block 1 did not fill that role. So if you're the organizers of Consensus, let's say, the conference, not the company, happens every May in New York. It's the biggest crypto conference of the year. If they wanted a representative from the EOS network, who would they call? If they called Block 1, no one would answer. So who would they call for EOS? A block producer? Block producers, as much as I think that some of the leaders amongst the block producers have authority, outside of the EOS community, they really don't. But whenever you reach out to the foundation of any protocol, not just EOS, the foundation's who you call. Whether it's Ethereum, Polkadot, Solana, they all have foundations, and that's who you call. If you're Consensus, you're organizing a conference, or any conference, who do you call? And now EOS has representation. We have pooled resources, like we have multiple PR firms locked and loaded, ready to roll. I think this is going to be the first time a lot of people hear about this, but we have a conference in China, a virtual conference happening to the Chinese community this Wednesday. We've got over 100 key opinion leaders in attendance. That's the word for influencer in China, or everywhere really, but it's just the word that they use instead of influencer. And influencer is a corny word anyway. And on top of that, all of these different media entities, I don't have it in front of me. It's either CoinDesk or Cointelegraph China, all these Jinsei, all of these other media entities on board to cover this event. And it's also going to be the very first time that Mr. Yves LaRose has made his pretty face public to speak publicly since announcing the EOS Foundation. So I'm really excited to see that. I've read his speech and his talking points, and it is going to blow some minds. So everyone listening in the English speaking community, I'm sure it'll be made available after the event, the recording or whatnot. But after that, I think it's going to be game on. We're going to be ramping up efforts in a lot of different directions. Pomelo is going to be live. Speaking of which,
speaking of Pomelo being live, how many people we got tuned in right now? Should I spill the beans?
I think it's a good point, because that kind of ties into
excited.
Yeah, that ties into the conference. Yeah.
Do people want to know when Pomelo's launching?
When?
What are we at on the stream count right now?
We have 23 people watching. 22 are liking the video.
That's EOS Nation channel. Do we have any
everything EOS is sad. It's like 10. I got 8 likes, 3 down likes. Damn. Whatever.
So something like 30 overall, something like that. A little more. Okay, we can talk to these 30 people and hopefully they'll tell their friends and invite more of your friends to tune in live, because we got a lot to talk about. The right. Launch date's just the beginning, right? How does this whole thing work? That's another factor.
I have a feeling people will be tuning in after the fact, because they're going to hear how awesome this episode was and all of this excitement of brewing that they're all going to tune in later. But let's give it to them.
All right. Are you guys ready? Pomelo season 1 is launching on November 7th. That's about just like a week away, right? A week and a day. So if you've been following along, you know this has been coming. Get your grant applications ready. If you want to know more, again, I just dropped, join our EOS network or the EOS community Discord channel. I just dropped our announcement article in there that has all the details. We can talk about it here, but if you need something to reference, there it is. So yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, everything is in place. The foundation just put 500K in it. Let's talk about how people get their money on it. First of all, the projects that are looking for funding, small projects, ideas, you know, they can start formulating the grants, but also how do people that want to support projects get involved, and how, like, compared to EOS Network Foundation and Eden, right, there's kind of a hurdle to get in, a small hurdle, but with Pomelo, everybody has a vote and everybody can push the projects they like. And that's like, we talked about bottom to top, right? This is like the very bottom to the very top. Right, we're being supported by the EOS Network Foundation, and everybody that's, you know, a token holder can really vote. And like with Quadratic funding, this is going a long way. Every donation goes a long way. So let's get a little bit into the process. You mentioned round one, so there will be
round one,
various rounds. Just round one has already 500K to distribute with the first matching partner.
Pomelo season one is just the beginning. The idea is we're creating a recurring kind of opportunity for builders in the ecosystem to get funding, build a reputation. That's a big part of it too. You know, we're Pomelo, we can look at as a place to build trust and community between the various actors in the community. You know, connecting the builders with the funds and allowing the community to be able to, again, at the end of the day, Pomelo is a platform it's a bottom-up platform. Let the community decide, how do we split this pot? Season one starting with $500,000 from the EOS Network Foundation. The idea is over time, you know, this is just the first one. We're gonna have a lot to learn in the first round. This is the first time we're running a round in Pomelo. We've learned a lot watching Gitcoin. For those of you familiar with that, they're a quadratic funding platform that is focused on the Ethereum community. I think they're about to have their 12th round in December. So they've done this a few times. We've been watching carefully. We've been talking to their team, asking for advice, and they've been really awesome in that regard. But we're just starting. We're learning. So we're gonna start with $500,000
opportunities. $500,000 is half of what Gitcoin's matching pool is, and Gitcoin gets thousands of applicants per round. They funded in round 11 over 1,000 grant proposals with their little over $1 million.
Yeah. So if you think about it, like, we don't know how many people to expect who are going to apply for grants. I expect, you know, our community is smaller than the Ethereum community for sure. So we'll likely see, you know, probably for the first round, a modest number of grant applications, and they'll get to split that pot. So, and again, it'll be basically, at the end of the day, it's going to be up to the EOS community to decide how it's split, how much of that pot goes to who, based on the quadratic donation formula, which we can talk a little bit about. But again, yeah, the main things that everyone needs to really know for today, if they're planning on, if they want to get that money, get your grant application ready. November 7th is when you'll be able to start submitting your applications on pomelo.io. There's going to be $500,000 in the pool. And really the criteria will be, so the Pomelo team will be reviewing and approving applications. And what we're looking for is that your application meets the criteria of a public good. The foundation released a great article on the other day about the mission of funding public goods of the foundation and what is a public good. Great resource. We've linked to that in the announcement article if you want to get a little dive deeper into what is a public good. Basically, though, it's whatever you're funding with your grant here has to be something that is freely accessible by anyone. You know, no one can be prevented from accessing it. And the second criteria is that one person accessing it doesn't impede another person's access to it. So it's, you know, something that anyone can use and not step on each other's toes using it, essentially. And that's really what we'll be looking for. And then after that, you know, as long as you qualify, that's where our rule stops. Now the community decides, is it valuable and should we donate to that? And because of the magic of quadratic funding, it doesn't matter as much how much you donate. What really matters is which projects get the most donations from the most people. 101 EOS donations is way more powerful than 100 EOS donation. So really the name of the game is building that support. And you know, going back to what Zach was saying earlier, like there's a family here. We know each other. Let's lean on each other as a family. I think that we all want to see each other succeed here. Like, I think that we have a strong community that, like, we want to see this pool distributed to a nice, like, I want to see Gray Mass getting money because I like using the Gray Mass wallet, and I am building a product that leverages the Gray Mass wallet. Plus, the Gray Mass guys are my bros. Like, there's we're all relying on each other to build this ecosystem. And now we have the opportunity to, you know, fund each other, the ones that we're, you know, the family, fund the family. Let's let our devs eat some ramen.
And it allows every individual contributor to amplify, magnify their contribution. So yeah, since launch, I could have sent 10 EOS to Gray Mass and said, thanks guys, I love your wallet. I'm sure they'll appreciate my $50. But with Pomelo, that same 10 EOS, depending on how many other people contribute to that particular proposal and how many collective EOS are collected across all of the round and some other variables here, but my 10 EOS more than likely is going to get multiplied at scale. So anywhere between 2 all the way up to like 27x, depending on the number of contributors for that particular proposal. So instead of giving Gray Mass directly, here's 10 EOS, instead they propose through Pomelo or anyone. I'm just using Gray Mass as an example here, but I give them 10 EOS, but then whenever the grant matching occurs at the end of the round, those 10 EOS might turn into 100 EOS because of the grant matching out of that $500,000 EOS Network Foundation pool in Pomelo. So it allows me to feel good about myself and my donation because I thought I was only giving this project $50 and I thought I was helping them out, which $50 is nice, but $500 is better.
Yeah, it's way more than a donation. It's influence on the distribution of the matching pool. You know, you got to pay a little bit. So you're paying an EOS or 10 or whatever you decide. And that's the price of being able to have actually quite a substantial or potentially, depending on what you're, you know, on the situation and the scenario. But it's an opportunity to really influence. Again, it's not a donation to Gray Mass. It's I'm deciding how these network funds, this 500,000, is being distributed to the projects that I care about.
So
yes, and it's also kind of building a community for a project or for an initiative that needs to happen, right? Like the big matching partners, they bring the money, they bring the dough, right? All that needs to happen from the token holder, smaller, they vote with their feet. They convince other people to, hey, vote, give a little bit for this project. And then we have numbers, right? And that builds already a community before something goes live. And that happens visibly. If Zach would have sent his 10 EOS, nobody would have known. If we do this publicly on Pomelo, we see how many voters are coming there. And that really brings our project up to the attention and brings visibility to things and initiatives that need to happen. And that creates, again, more community, more education. People read the grant applications in order to learn more. Why is infrastructure needed? Why is history needed? Why, you know, all these kind of things. And that is knowledge. I think this is super powerful.
And it gives everyone things to look forward to. Like I said earlier, there's going to be all of these different initiatives. You're like, they got hooked up. They got like 50 grand in this matching round. That's awesome. They could do so much with that money. They're so deserving of that money. Let's see what they could do. But it's going to take them a couple of months to build it out, or maybe even longer, maybe less. But it's constantly going to have different things to look forward to.
Yeah. But it's 4 seasons a year and an opportunity, again, not just for money, but start proving yourself. You know, you start your first round with maybe you get maybe you're relatively unknown to the community, but you manage to get a little small budget. And you deliver something, and then the next round you demonstrate, hey, look what I did the last round with this, and you're building this reputation round over round, to building up to the point where you can, you know, attract way more confidence of the community, and then who knows, maybe the you know you've got the attention of the EOS Network Foundation at that point.
Well, the advantage of everyone watching this video is you're the OGs of EOS. You've lived through the darker days and there are brighter days ahead. You've put in the work, you've built your reputations. You guys have a huge advantage. Just like in Eden, the people that were already known and trusted had huge advantages because you don't have to sell yourself. You've been on a 3-year job interview already. We know who you are. We know you can deliver. We just know that you've been living off ramen noodles and you can only do so much. Like I understand this completely. Everything EOS was a public service that I gave for a really long time to the EOS community. I had a sponsorship from Cypherglass that made it possible to really ramp up our efforts in 2019. But what happened after that was, man, I had to do more stuff. I had to get myself more busy because it doesn't pay the bills. Like public goods traditionally, and if you read the article that we published through Eve's account on Medium, public goods typically aren't always the most profitable because just everyone benefits from it, but usually only one person or one entity's foot in the bill, and the bill could be time or money. But the benefits are countless because you're able to scale your efforts. And that's what I was able to do with scaling the information. I would bleh the information out once, and then thousands of people would consume that information. So I bleh it out once, and thousands of people get the knowledge. And that's the same thing for almost every public good. Think about open source code is a great example of a public good. One team or one group of developers or one developer builds some open source component that is super valuable, and it saves hundreds, thousands, dozens of developers countless hours because they were able to just use this open source code and save whatever time it would take to solve whatever problem they were trying to solve. Whereas in the current system, it's ravenous competition. And it's like, if I'm a game developer, I was just talking about this yesterday because of the gaming grants, and I build like a Unity integration, integrate Unity into Anchor. And it makes my game really good. It's a tool that I needed for my game, but I don't want these other games competing with me because I'm the one that invested the $20,000 of dev costs to build this plugin or this integration. I'm keeping it to myself. I might give it to some close friends or some business partners, but I'm keeping it to myself because I invested the 20 grand in it. Meanwhile, if it was open source and freely available to the public, every one of those teams that would have otherwise had to build this component individually, spending their own $20,000, they all get the collective benefit of it. So instead of 10 different teams spending $20,000 each building the same exact thing, one team could get funded $20,000, more or less, whatever it takes, through Pomelo or through the foundation or through Eden. And one team does this, and because it's a public good, it's known from the onset that it's going to be open source because it's non-rivalous. And this component it scales itself. One team, one person, one group puts in the time and effort and money, and then everyone benefits from it. And that's how you build on top of the shoulders of giants. You save time, you save efforts, and we could just keep on building, keep on building, keep on building. And I think in a very short order of time, we're going to see an explosion because there is, as much as our talent pool within EOS has kind of dampened over the last 2 years, we still have a very strong core. And that core is going to be empowered, and that core is going to radiate, and it's going to attract more talented people into the ecosystem. I think we'll see it after the first season of Pomelo. I think the second season, we're going to see 2 or 3 times the applicants as the first season. But everyone
seeing is believing, I think. I think a big part of this is going to be just showing the EOS community what's possible. And that's a big part of our mission for the first season. It's like we got to spark the engine, get it turning over. Start getting the community aware that this is an opportunity that exists, seeing how it plays out, learning. I think we're all going to learn as a community going through the first round, even the Pomelo team. So again, a big part of the first round, our goal is really it's an opportunity for everyone to learn and improve and get better. Should we talk a little bit, maybe more tactically about how this thing is going to work? I'm sure there are a lot of questions people are having. They're like, what? Okay, November 7th. What else? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, making it a public good is also, as Zach said, like something that everybody can look forward to, right? But some of the projects or some of the people, they're already working on something that they want to use for profit, right? How can we give people tips that are already working, how to evaluate how they can contribute to public good for everybody to use, or how they can see what's the public good? I think that's something that we could evaluate, because this is also part of the process. In the next we're starting at the 7th for grant applications, but then comes the evaluation process before we then can start donating.
Yeah.
So in order for that to go smooth, I think everybody needs to know what is the public good and how can they, if they're doing for-profit, what makes them, how can they design a grant that makes it a public good?
Yeah. So we've been talking about the public good aspect of Pomelo for a while, and we've been getting questions from the community who are, people who are really interested in creating grants, but not sure whether they would qualify. Hey, I'm a for-profit company. I'm a private business. How can I fund that and call it a public good? Does that exclude me? And what I usually say to these people is, look for the public good within your product. The product itself doesn't necessarily have to be a free open source. You could be a for-profit private company, but the thing that you're funding has to meet that criteria. For example, I'm gonna call out. I was talking to the guys at Violet Garden, John Williamson, asking about is Violet Garden a public good because it's exclusive to Eden members. So if you're funding that aspect of it, then maybe it's not. It's if you're creating a grant to build the mechanisms to create this exclusive thing, maybe that doesn't qualify as a public good. But maybe, what is a public good is news, education, publications. Violet Garden is a great way to publish the thoughts of Eden members to the wider community. It's a platform where Eden members can prove they're an Eden member and start posting their thoughts and articles and things like that. And that, giving everyone access to that is a public good. So that's one example. I've had, I talked to, for example, like what about something like auditing code? I'm a private auditing company. How can I position code audits as a private good? Okay, how do you frame it? We won't be able to fund you as I'm gonna charge people to do audits and I need money to grow my team, and that's not a public good. But maybe offering the community that we will, if we reach X dollars, we will audit all DeFi over X TLV or something. You can offer these free services and maybe peg them to milestones on, obviously you're going to have to, make it reasonable for your business. So you can't offer to audit all the code if you only earn $10. But if you get specific in your grant application saying, hey, if I earn this much, I can afford to audit.
Kind of like a Kickstarter. If you ever read a proposal for a Kickstarter campaign, there's typically multiple tiers depending on how much they raise. They deliver different levels of products to their contributors and to the public. Yeah.
So again, look for the public good within your product. You don't have to necessarily, think of the whole company as the public good. Think of what it is the company is producing, and maybe there's something you could be producing that you're not yet. That maybe it's a public good.
And then the other thing is, like I gave the example with the open source code earlier, you could have a proprietary product that you had to build something for that is a general problem that other developers are facing.
Right.
And even though your product's private and proprietary and a business, like revenue generating business to yourself or your team, there's these different components within it that could be considered public goods. And we're not going to fund you to build your big AMM or whatever you're building, or your arbitrage bots, but we could potentially fund
one of your building
universal
blocks.
component, a building block that you need anyway, that you would have otherwise had to pay out of pocket, with the agreement that this is going to be open source and this is going to be available to everybody. So I think every dApp that's ever been built has some kind of component in it that is probably universal if you really think about it. But
so now there's an incentive to share. Like you kind of were mentioning earlier, Zach, how people are almost want to hoard their code. But now if there's money on the table for you to share it, there's a real good reason to share it.
Yep, and sharing it saves the next developer time, and then that next developer finds the next level of problems, and they're like, "Hey, I could solve this in a general way that can benefit everyone," and then that building block gets added to the mix of open source code available within the EOS ecosystem as a whole. And over time, you just build these blocks where you eventually solve all of the little nuances of developing on EOS.io that are bothersome for developers, and you simplify it. And going another level, there's the education and the documentation aspects of it. Whose job is that? That's a public good. Like who is, so we have all of this open source code that previous projects have already built. Some of those teams aren't even in the ecosystem anymore. Organizing a directory or a library and adding a tagging system to all of this open source code to make it more accessible to the rest of the community. Whose job is that? That's not something you could build a business model around. So it's just something that traditionally just went undone in the EOS community. Now there's a job for someone to do that, should they have the skill set and expertise to do that. So there's so many opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes for things that are already built, but also the things that are about to build, or the ideas that people have. Once they have Pomelo, they can promote this, and you immediately have a conversation around, and it's public. People can expect, oh, that might be funded by Pomelo. I can then use it, and then I can plan my business already advanced. And you have the conversation. You're reaching out, hey, how are you planning to solve this problem? I was thinking about this earlier. And this conversation then can happen in Pomelo, but it can then also happen in the Discord channel. We talked about the Discord being more structured. And since it's all public, and since there's hope, something to look forward, the prospect of funding, and the promotion, which leads me into the next question. Like, people need to promote what they're working on in order to get the funding, in order to get the feed voting for them, to maximize what they're getting. So how do you see projects promoting their grants?
I want to see the next everything EOS come out of Pomelo. I don't know who it's going to be. I need someone to do what I was doing 2 years ago so that I could watch them. Hot sauce is the closest thing. I don't know if you guys will be applying in the first round. This is a public good, hands down. But I understand, because you guys built it. It's touchy, even though it's completely a public good.
That's something. So on that point, we're starting pretty centralized. So the Pomelo team, at the end of the day, is deciding, are you a public good or not? We're starting centralized, and we're reading applications and deciding if they're public goods or not, and then letting the community decide how to distribute the funds. We'd really like to, over time, more and more decentralize, give the community really the control to be the ones deciding what isn't a public good. We're not there yet. And until we are, we don't want to be judging our own grants. We'll evolve Pomelo to a place where the community can judge our grants before we start participating.
But what we need, though, is resources like what we're doing here on Hot Sauce, just from a different team. And what I used to do with everything EOS, we need multiple people and channels and influential people, knowledgeable, influential people within the EOS ecosystem to give a platform to these Pomelo proposals. It gives us something to talk about. It gives us something to look forward to. And it lets us dissect those individuals and their ideas through more than just the text proposed on Pomelo itself. You get to see the proposer on video talking about it, or if it's a text interview on EOS Writer or on Bywire. There's so many opportunities for different skill sets, and just being able to talk to people and network with people and build a platform for these proposals themselves is a public good. And I hope to see a lot of that.
And even if you're not successful in your first round, again, you started building that reputation. I think that alone is super valuable. You've now got your project visible in front of all the community. You're starting to build that. You're getting the feedback loop going. And you're building that on-chain history. Every round that comes, people will look, oh, this person was here since round one, and they're still here, and they're still, plugging away, trying to grind out good for the EOS community. So again, I would say don't get discouraged if in the first round, if you're new to the community and you're worried that, oh, no one's gonna fund me, that's fine. Think of that first round as this foot in the door to start building that reputation.
Yeah, and I also just want to point out, don't wait to get funding to start work either. A lot of what I hope to see in Pomelo is stuff people have already been putting their sweat equity in. It's more like the recognition grants that we're doing with the foundation. It's for work that's already been done, and then we hope, like, there's no strings on these grants. Like, they could walk away and say, see ya. But the expectation is that it's going to incentivize and motivate them to continue to work and build upon this. And I don't want people to be like, oh, if I don't get funding, I won't do it. No, do it. And then you're way more likely to get even more funding whenever you do apply for it. Or if you don't get enough funding, do it anyway. Because if what you're doing, if you know it creates value, then value will be given back. And that mechanism didn't exist before. And it was disheartening to certain people, myself included. But now, like, it's not like that anymore. It's different. It's literally a new era for EOS. Like, we're in like uncharted waters here, and it feels different. And we're gonna see the fruits of that. I think we've already seen it with Eden happening so quick, and with the recognition grants already going out, a lot of them. But we're going to see another level of it with Pomelo. And I think this one's going to be at the most scale, because when we talk about the synergies, like how Eden and Pomelo are two different kind of consensus mechanisms of distributing funds, but there's also synergies between them. There were a lot of delegates who campaigned in Eden basically on Brandon Lovejoy. He was a final delegate at the final 8. He basically just campaigned on, guys, like, you trust me. I've been here the entire time. I've built up this reputation in EOS. I don't personally need to build anything, but I know who the value creators are, and you could trust me to contribute to them. So there are literally people who ran on campaigns, not just Lovejoy, but there are people that ran in Pomelo specifically as proxies to Pomelo, saying that, trust me as your proxy. If I get 120 EOS per month, I'm going to put all of those into Pomelo, because that way I can amplify that 120 EOS so it becomes 500 EOS or 1,000 EOS, because of the way the quadratic voting and grant matching works. So that's where a lot of the synergies are going to lie, is we have all of these, however many, 35 delegates within Eden who all have some EOS, some extra EOS in their pockets now. Yeah, they're funding their own efforts, but they're going to put a lot of it into Pomelo, I think, also.
Totally.
Well, we already mentioned a lot, like that reputation plays a huge role, and a lot of the drawbacks on previous models were like the fear of like a worker proposal system or inflation being abused, you know. And I think now we've been building a lot to find the perfect balance. But how will Pomelo, like, it's a little bit in the future. We can go now move. We talked about in the first round, but EOS Nation will continue to build out Pomelo, new features. There is some reputation system planned for Pomelo, right? Can we touch up a little bit on this? Like, how do we prevent abuse? Besides, like, now the funding pool is like ramping up slowly. We have 500K right now. You know, we all know the people. We do reviewing, but like in the future, when this scales, like, and more people know about it, how do we prevent abuse? How do we create the reputation beyond like knowing each other?
Right. So yes. Pomelo uses quadratic funding, and quadratic funding is, I guess, there's an attack. The attack vector on quadratic funding is Sybil attack, because the more unique users, the more funding you get. So that creates an incentive for people to pretend to be more than one person. And we're going to be doing everything we can to watch out for that and adjust the matching pool allocation accordingly based on evidence we see of that. We've got lots of things we're already going to be doing in the first round. We've got a lot of experience with, our EOS Nation is the same team who built EOS Detective. So we have some pretty powerful tools to help us analyze activity on chain for that sort of thing. We're also doing things on the application level. So the way that it works is you're signing in with an EOS Nation account. It can be username and password or GitHub. We're actually, for round one, we're still actually debating. We may narrow it down to only GitHub at the beginning as a login option, because there's some more Sybil resistant technology available in there. We haven't made our final decision yet there, but before November 7th, we will. It's only a week away. So you'll either be able to log in with just GitHub or GitHub, Google, email, password, and we're in the link, and then you're going to be linking that to your EOS account to make your donations. We've got some Sybil resistant mechanisms in place there. But over time, we're going to be increasing those quite a bit. Something that we learned observing what they do on Gitcoin, they have this concept called the trust bonus. So, you log in with your EOS Nation account, and then you can layer on additional layers of kind of proof of uniqueness and at various scales. Some is more valuable than others. For example, as an Eden member, you'll be able to link your EOS account. We're going to know that you're an Eden member, and we can give you a trust bonus because we know that you've gone through the Eden onboarding process, which means there's a pretty good chance that you're a unique person. Other things you can do is link multiple socials. So, the more link Facebook, link Twitter, link GitHub. The more that you link, the more likely you are a unique person, because it's difficult for a fake person to make 1 million Facebook accounts and link them to 1 million. Not a guarantee, but the goal is we're reducing the likelihood.
You could also include other factors. So I remember with Liquid Apps during the, I think you guys helped with some of the back-end stuff, monitoring the accounts. Yeah. And I think at one point it didn't get implemented, but at one point there was this idea of a social media tie-in that would be like a light identity instead of a KYC.
Right.
And there's different parameters. So not just a Facebook account, but a Facebook account that's more than, let's say, 6 months old and has more than 200 friends or something. So there's these different parameters that make it very difficult to Sybil, because unless you planned in advance and matured all of these old accounts that you let age, then you're not going to be able to Sybil.
And that's one of the reasons we're considering round one being GitHub only, because they have the most kind of robust functionality on that regard. Like we can, for example, limit it to only a GitHub account over a certain age, for example, like that. And GitHub has a lot of great tools built into GitHub itself that prevents you from creating too many accounts. So that's what, for the first round, we're considering, let's keep it to GitHub only. The idea though is over time. So, the first round is we're taking care of the EOS family, and the EOS family are a pretty technically savvy group of people. They've been around for a while, and they know how to use blockchain accounts and self-custody and all that sort of thing that you don't expect from, my mom and dad, for example. But wouldn't it be great if in the future I could create a grant and ask my mom and dad to donate to it? So over time, we got to make sure it's easy for, my mom and dad don't have a GitHub account. I don't want to have to expect them to get one. So we can evolve our login options over time to be more friendly, and we can evolve our payment options also. Right now, we only accept EOS as a payment method. You log in with your EOS Nation login account, you link your EOS account, and now you can start adding grants to your cart and shopping and paying with EOS. Again, something that I don't think I expect my mom to do, at least in anytime soon. Would be good if she could, pay with Apple Pay or Google Pay and load up her Pomelo balance and start shopping. Or maybe she can subscribe to a Pomelo membership or a Pomelo subscription that every round automatically puts whatever her decided budget to the collection of grants that she's picked, or maybe the collection that she's proxied to, as Zach was mentioning.
I don't think we're on the air for that. What do you mean, collection or proxy?
Collection, right? Right. So again, this is something that they've got on Gitcoin. Definitely recommend everyone, if you are interested in participating in Pomelo, go check out gitcoin.co. You'll learn a lot about how this thing works, and get examples of good grants, for example, that are getting funded. Maybe get a sneak peek of some of the features they have that we don't have yet. Again, this is our first round. We're starting pretty small scope. We're going to be every round growing it. Collections is a way for someone to log in and create a collection of the grants that you support, kind of like a proxy. Instead of picking the BPs you support, you're picking the grants you support, and anybody can, instead of voting for a particular grant, they donate to your collection, and then it automatically splits that donation across the your collection, and then you don't have to research as hard. You can again trust. Maybe there's a trusted community member who has a collection that you like to follow and support. We're already, so collections we're not going to have an ability in the first season to create a collection that people can donate to easily like that, but we are allowing people to follow grants that they like, and you are able to share the grants that you're following. So for example, someone like who's running in an Eden election could create almost a portfolio of grants that they support, and you share here are the grants that I'm following. These are the types of things that if I'm elected as an Eden member, I would like to be supporting. So there's, it's a quick, easy way for you to build a portfolio that you can display to the community of, hey, support me and I'll support these guys. Like I said, over time, we'll build more features that make, maybe you could subscribe or just send your tokens and it automatically distributes it.
I love that. It's so you can call it a proxy. The correlation to voting for BPs. You can't research 30 BPs, so you just pick a proxy and they choose your BPs for you. You can also look at it like an index fund. So if I want to invest in tech stocks, but I don't want to research all the tech stocks, but I want to invest in them, I could invest in a research fund dedicated to tech stocks, and I get kind of access to all of them in my portfolio. Same could be looked at with collections in Pomelo. And I'm assuming this is something hopefully we'll see in season 2. But if I just want to but donate, contribute to content creators, for example, there could be a content creator collection that someone curates. Someone from the community literally just curates proposals and puts them into a collective and says, if you contribute to this collective, you're going to just get your capital spread out amongst all of who I think are the best influencers within EOS, or within the best technicians within EOS, all these technical products that most regular people might not understand. I don't know like what some wallet integration is that's super valuable and useful, but super difficult to maintain is. But if it was in a collective, I could maybe just throw 100 EOS into this collective, and then that 100 EOS gets matched up to like 1,000 EOS, and then that all of those teams within that collective are taken care of. It's like an index of public goods. So I'm looking forward to that. But like you said, we won't have that in season 1, but that's okay. I think
we'll have a kind of a small version of it. I think the following kind of gets us partly of the way there. But again, it's going to be great when people can actually start just selecting that collection and voting to that but you'll be able to look at the Zach's favorites and add them all to your cart and send your donations that way. So
I'm also looking forward to, I hate to talk about all this future stuff because there's so much really great things that are available.
There's a lot we can talk about.
But bounties are something I'm really looking forward to. And This kind of ties into season 1 of Pomelo also, even though bounties don't exist, is how many times have you been in Telegram or now on Discord and you see some person, sometimes they're random people, sometimes they're trusted leaders within the community. Someone should build this. EOS needs that. Why doesn't someone do this? Well, typically the reason someone doesn't do it is because there's not incentive to do it, because it is a public good, or because there's no way to profit from it, or people are busy and you don't know who could possibly like do that task. Like, for example, a hackathon. I would love to see even if it's virtual or a virtual conference, I would love to see that happen. I don't personally at this moment in time have the time to organize such an event. I would love to see someone propose, like in the EOS community, to season 1 of Pomelo, I'm going to organize a virtual conference for EOS in February, and I'm going to have all of the key leaders within the EOS community talking about their projects. Like, we used to have this stuff in like the first year of EOS. Like, this is like at the beginning, Daniel said, it's starting to feel like that magical time in 2017, 18, and some of 19, where things just seemed like they were moving and happening. At that time, people were driving off of the future potential of EOS. They were putting sweat equity in, not getting paid themselves, but they were just putting it in, hoping that there would be a carrot at the end, and they would get their incentive at the end after delivering on it. So we saw a lot of these community goods and community efforts being delivered on, but then after time and time again, if like you don't see the fruits of your labor, it kind of slows down. And that's why we kind of stagnated for a while. But now we have the incentive mechanism in place incentive mechanisms in place where there's so many different opportunities to be incentivized to do this kind of work. And this all goes back to what we expected at Genesis in 2018. There was a WPS in the white paper, and it just never happened for whatever reason. And this is the modern version of a WPS in every sense, every step of the way. And it's also a good way to get a proposal in front of the EOS Foundation, because there is the opportunity for, like, the EOS Network Foundation is an entity just like any other entity contributing to a Pomelo proposal. There's nothing stopping the EOS Network Foundation from contributing a nice chunk of EOS to any of these proposals. And the framework for those investments is being developed as we speak, of like how that.
Yeah, you're building your portfolio, not just for the greater EOS community. There's an EOS Network Foundation they're giving direct grants, giving sponsorships. This is your opportunity to get their attention. And then going to the bounties, there's a great synergy with bounties and grants. You just get funded a bunch of money for a grant. Now you got to build the thing. And you're like, oh, whoa, I got a bunch of money and not enough devs. I need this thing. Post a bounty. Use the funds you just earned from your grant to create a bounty to fund someone to help you build the thing you promised to build.
So there I got a question. The bounties, will they be also in rounds, or will they be at any time? So the bounties, can they be posted at any time?
So you can think of a bounty as like the opposite of a grant. A grant is, I have this idea, I want to build this thing, I'm asking for funding. A bounty is, I'm offering money for anyone who can build this thing. There's no matching pool with the bounties, so you're just directly funding. Again, the grants, we have that in round one, $500,000 being divided. But yeah, the idea is take that money you earn from the grant, supplement your talent on your team by posting a bounty. Bounties are a great way also for like job. It's like I see it evolving almost into a jobs platform too, like where you get to try out some devs to help you out, and then you hire them.
Mm-hmm.
If they did some good work, and you want to keep cranking out some good work, give them a job. Bounty is a great place for discovering talent, and also for talent to become discovered.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, super excited for bounties. That's going to be the next big milestone coming up after grant round one. That's going to be our priority, to build bounties. Again, in addition to improving all of our Sybil defenses. We talked a little bit about why Eden. We could make Eden a trust bonus technically today if we wanted to. We could flip a switch right now, and we would be giving Eden members a trust bonus. The reason that we decided to hold off until the next round is we wanted to make Pomelo as inclusive as possible to the entire EOS community. And we don't currently have a Chinese Eden or a Korean Eden. It's right now the Eden community we have is predominantly Western. And there's a lot of great stuff happening in China and Korea and the rest of the world. And we want to make sure everyone gets the same opportunity to get that first matching pool. So again, we expect we probably will be Sybil attacked. We absolutely will be Sybil attacked.
100%.
I was talking to Kevin from Gitcoin. He's the man behind Gitcoin, and kind of in preparation for our launch, asking him some questions, and mentioned that we're going to have a 500,000 matching pool. He's like, whoa, we only had 25 in our first round. Prepare to get Sybil attacked. Like, you guys will get attacked. And I was like, yes, I know. One of the expectations I want to set for the community is, again, our goal is not to perfectly distribute the matching pool. There would likely be some bad actors that will attack and perhaps get away with some funds. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to build the system that over time improves. We can't have a reputation in the system on day one. We're going to need multiple rounds together to give people the opportunity to build those reputations.
Going to be an amazing reputation. And I don't think we mentioned it, but to get the grant matching, the proposer themselves will have to go through a KYC ML process.
KYC.
So you only get one
good point.
reputation. If you ruin it, and an attack could be someone just rugging the proposal and not delivering on purpose. But then to go along with reputation, someone could just over promise and under deliver. And that's also going to be a knock on their reputation. It's not because they're malicious. It's because they just weren't up to the job that they said they would do. And it's going to build a reputation system of who can get work done and who could contribute to good work within EOS. So the synergies with Eden that I see is those delegates that are just contributing to Eden's, they're building up a reputation also of, you could look at their history of everything they've ever contributed to in Pomelo from their Eden account, which they are a delegate in. And you're building up this reputation there also, is they said that they're going to contribute to good projects, but it looks like half the projects they contributed are shit, or their best friends that don't do anything. They're freeloaders. Right. So you're going to see that also. And you're going to see who creates the value and who doesn't. You're going to see who's real and who's fake, or who just isn't up to the job, even with their best intentions, which happens sometimes.
Right.
No,
and again, although we will, again, our Sybil defenses are immature compared to Gitcoin right now. We have a lot of work. It's going to take years to build the perfect system. We're not perfect right now, but we have some pretty good guardrails in place right now. And I mentioned, for example, we're starting the application process to be centralized. That's one of the guardrails. Is we're approving and declining applications that are coming through, so we can at least limit we have a control of the quality of the applications that are available to split that pool. And then it's, again, the community is going to decide exactly how it's split. We might see some Sybil there influencing that distribution, but again, we're going to try the best to learn from it. But at least, it's all this money is going to the grants that have kind of come through that bare minimum of a quality bar. I think
more good will come out of it than bad. Yeah. So you can't be afraid of waste. Like there's going to be waste in anything you do, whether intentional or unintentional. But that doesn't mean that a whole lot of good's not going to come out of it, and that good's going to be so meaningful. And each season and each season, it's just going to build on top of the previous round. Yeah.
And you touched on KYC. I'll just clarify that a little bit. We will be doing KYC on the grant recipients. So if you are someone who's owns a grant, created a grant, and you made it through the round, and you now are, have a matching pool allocation, in order to be able to claim that allocation, you have to go through KYC. So as an attacker, there's a maybe an attacker doesn't want to go through KYC. There's a bit of another protection there.
But just so this is clear also, if you want to remain anonymous, you can still do so through Pomelo. You're just not eligible for the grant matching. But if you want to make some quasi gray area public good that you don't want your name associated to, you don't want to go through that KYC, people could still contribute to your project, but you're not going to be eligible for the grant matching at the end. So it's not like you don't have to, and you're not going to be public either. So this KYC process, it's an internal process. It's within a compliance department. It's not like the rest of the EOS community is going to know your real name or your face. It's still very much private, but just for I don't know, probably compliance and regulatory reasons.
Legally, we have to, in order to distribute the matching pool, we're required to conduct KYC AML. Yeah.
So it's still pseudo anonymous. If they choose to be, they could be under any pseudonym publicly, but the Pomelo team will know who you are, but that's okay.
Even we won't. We're going to have a third party handling. You'll submit your stuff to this portal, and we're just going to get results back saying, yes, they passed. No, they failed.
That's even better.
So yeah, we won't even. Yeah. What else do we want to talk about? We talked about KYC. Should we talk? Did we get tactical enough about the schedule, for example? Like we said, November 7th.
Yeah, let's go through the rounds. So so November 7th, Pomelo opens up to accept proposals. What happens next?
So as soon as people start accepting proposals, we start reviewing them. We're expecting, this is our first time. We're learning as we go, but we're expecting maybe 2 to 3 days turnaround time from the time you submit an application. Hopefully we'll give you an answer one way or another, whether you're approved or denied. Starting on November 11th, that's when people can start donating to the grants. So you've got a few days from the time we open to get your application in before donations start open. So I would encourage you, start now, get your application ready, get your Google Doc going, ready to paste it in there. Feel free to check out playground.pomelo.io. That's our test environment where you can go play around with it. But anyway, starting November 7th or November 11th, that's when people can start donating. We close the applications on the 28th of November. We allow people donations to continue until December 1st. So it's all in all, it's a little under a month, about 4 weeks from start to end. And the idea is we're doing 4 of these a year. So we'll have about 2 months between rounds. And that's the period where we're doing all of, the analyzing, watching for Sybil, adjusting the matching results as of, based on the evidence of Sybil that we discover, going through the KYC process with all of the qualified grant recipients, distributing the funds. So with the round and all that, it's 3 months in total. Once a quarter, we have another round. And, the idea is just like get a flow going where everyone can expect every 3 months, there's another Pomelo round coming, get ready. And like I said, kind of closer to the beginning, we're kind of boosting it in round 1 and hopefully, getting, again, all learning together how this whole thing works.
Mm-hmm. Excited.
Yeah. I think it's one thing that we also need to discuss, or that's important in this whole process is, you mentioned it already, that the platform is for the whole EOS community, so the Korean, the Chinese community, all the grants, they have the opportunity to be like in all 3 languages. So if you have a grant, try to get it translated beforehand, right? Yeah. Totally. And there we again have the synergy. I mean, we talked about the reputation that we can leverage of Eden, because this is a reputation system in the end that we can leverage. We can leverage the international community of the EOSBs in the last Eden open mic, like Jesse already mentioned, that they would be open to translate for the community.
There's
and
a
there
huge
you have
opportunity
it, like a translation
for translators.
Service.
Huge opportunity for people that speak multiple languages between English, Korean, and Chinese. If you speak any 2 of those languages, or all 3, if you're like that talented, there's probably going to be a ton of work for you to do. And I don't know if there'll be as much before season 1, because nobody's ever won anything or earned anything through these public goods. But I can guarantee you by round 2, there's going to, it's just going to be a lot wider known. The community will be larger by then. But there's going to be a lot of opportunities for people who are bilingual or trilingual to give these services, because you could use Google Translate, but it's not ever going to be the same context as having a native translator. So I hope to see a lot of people. I asked in the Pomelo channel, that was one of the first things I asked, was who could offer this service, because you don't know what you don't know. If someone doesn't say, hey, I have not only the skill set to do this, but I've got some free time, I could do it. Like PM me and we could work out a price or a deal or a partnership of some kind.
Totally.
And it can even be based on what they make in Pomelo. Hey, I'll give you 1% of whatever I get in Pomelo as long as you translate my work for me. Like, I'll pay you later.
Yeah. It's super important because, like I said, it's the fact that you're relying on the community to essentially vote for you by donating to you. So obviously you want to reach the widest audience. You want to make sure that everyone can read and understand what it is that you're offering. English, Chinese, Korean are the 3 languages we're supporting in round 1. When you're submitting your application, there'll be a field for you to enter all 3 languages. All you need to translate is your title and your description. Everything else automatically, it's drop downs, things like that. So just get a good title and description, fully translated, fully accessible to the entire community, and you're more likely to succeed.
What about the NFTs? We didn't talk about NFTs.
Ooh, NFTs.
Well, yeah, the NFT is my favorite. So we started the promotion for Pomelo with like doing the Pomelo farming with the trees and the ingredients, and now we have a bunch of people having golden pomelos. So these golden pomelos will be in the next week. We will start blending them into badges, which will be a cosmetic feature on the Pomelo platform. But it goes further, right? So we heard about that. The Twitter is already like verifying ownership. So you can prove on the UI that you actually own an ownership. And this is something I think we are also trying to leverage. Okay,
You guys see my
sharing
screen?
the platform a little bit. Yeah, we can actually.
This is the playground here. Again, a test environment and still a work in progress. We have a week left, but we're still working. We're like going right to the last minute. We want to get this out as soon as possible. So speaking of Eden and golden pomelos and avatars, profile pictures, we do have a nice little perk for Eden members. Here's we've had the Eden members helping us test in the playground for weeks now. Chris has linked his Eden account as his payment method, and therefore his Eden profile picture is displayed nicely on his profile. So that's one sign of trust that we're offering. We're not giving a trust bonus to Eden members, but at least you'll be able to know for sure, hey, this grant application is coming from an Eden member, because only Eden members have the ability to prove their Eden membership and display their profile picture on their profile. Because we don't give anyone an option to upload the profile. It's all based on, we've built a NFT profile picture system where you have to prove your ownership of NFT in order to display it on your profile. And then again, there's an additional layer of, if I buy the Chris Barnes Eden NFT on Atomic Hub, I'm not going to be able to display it because we're checking that the identity matches too. You can see Denny here has a little golden pomelo twirling here. That's not going to be what our golden pomelo look like. This is right now we're testing to make sure that it works. Our smart contract is working. He has a golden pomelo in his inventory, and our smart contract is detecting it and displaying that as his profile picture. So the idea is those who participated in our season 1 pomelo promo, where we raised 1,000 EOS for the pomelo, which I believe, I don't know if Martin, you guys decided exactly on how you guys will distribute them. Maybe you can talk about that later. But we're gonna give you a way to display that you're an OG supporter of the Pomelo platform. Every season we're going to be doing another promo leading up to every season where you'll be able to unlock another badge. Over time, you'll be able to earn badges in various ways. Maybe the top contributor, the top donation. Who knows? All kinds of things we can award NFTs for, and then allow people to display them. For now, very basic. It's just automatic. Will detect if you're an Eden member. Will give you the thing. If you have the badge, it'll give you the golden. If you're an Eden member and you have a golden badge, maybe you're going to have a golden border around your Eden face. But over time, we're going to build more features to get. Maybe we'll support other NFTs. Maybe you're going to want to put a crypto finny as your profile picture.
Crypto finny. Don't we have some
Speaking
crypto
about
finnies?
Crypto finnies.
Oh. Is there a giveaway? Is there a giveaway here?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's giveaway time. And I think we're closing in on almost 90 minutes on the show. And I think we promised people to ask a couple of questions. And I think we can, about every feature of Pomelo, we can do one show, I guess.
Easily. I don't think we got through half your questions probably, Martin.
No. No, but it's been great. It's been great. I like this conversation so much. I will
have to do more of these.
Let's do another one this week before Pomelo launches. I'm game any weekday. Let's just set it up. We'll coordinate offline.
I'm down.
Okay. So I will drop some of the claim links now in the YouTube chat, and I give everybody on the chat the time to ask some question. I scrolled through a little bit. I didn't see question yet. Now is the time. If you have any question for Daniel or Zach regarding the Pomelo or the launch of Pomelo or how to use Pomelo, do that now. And
I saw a couple.
Go for it.
So Jesse, I saw right after I posted the announcement article in the chat. To clarify, 500,000 worth of EOS priced on November 7th? ? Yes, $500,000 worth of EOS priced at. We're going to try as best we can to have it priced at the time that we're distributing it, or at least at the time we put it in the pool for you to start claiming. We're gonna the way that it works is at the end when we've completed all of the analysis and gone through all the KYC, we'll have a smart contract that you'll be able to come and claim your allocation from. And we're going to do our best to make sure that at the time we make that claim available, there's $500,000 worth of EOS there to claim.
Yeah, and the grant matching is matched in EOS. You contribute in EOS, you get matched in EOS. So really the $500,000 like ratio to EOS only matters whenever the transfer happens from EOSIO.grants to the Pomelo account. So it's really about timing that up towards the end of the round as close to the actual grant matching happening as possible. We're running into similar smaller issues with the recognition grants. It hasn't been an issue yet, but because of the security feature on the EOSIO.grants account, there's a 72-hour time delay from the time a transaction's initiated, from the time it can be initiated. And because we're giving away grants in fiat denominations, $100,000 grant, whatever $100,000 worth of EOS is on Friday might be slightly different by Monday, but it's usually a negligible amount. But obviously this is crypto, it can go crazy swings one way or the other. There's only so much you could do to prevent that, but a lot of times the volatility is relatively temporary. Same's going to happen with this grant matching round. We can contribute the $500,000 towards the end of the round when it's close to being grant matched, but before the grant matching gets sent to the proposers, like the US dollar value of the EOS might change, but it doesn't really matter because your grant matching is based on EOS. So it's just gonna, maybe the grant matching will be $550,000, maybe it'll be $475,000. It doesn't really matter because it's still the same amount of EOS, and the EOS is going to get distributed to the proposers, and it's up to them if they want to hold it or hedge to sell it or what they want to do with it. So you can manage it to an extent, but I'm not too worried about that.
Okay, I see Jana gave me a couple of questions here, I think. Somebody's asking, what's Pomelo? If I read. I think that was very much in the beginning. Yeah.
It's a grapefruit.
That's right. It's basically a grapefruit.
Yeah. So yeah, he's asking if it's like a hackathon. I don't think so.
No.
Chris,
think of it more like a Kickstarter or is it similar to? I never use Kickstarter.
It's like a public good Kickstarter. It's like so ideally you already have something and you're like, I want to keep doing this or do it better. But it doesn't have to be that. I want to do this and it'll benefit EOS in this way. Support me. Yeah. That's essentially
but you don't have to rely on the individuals only to contribute. Again, we have the really powerful matching pool, which is a game changer, I think, to this whole thing. You know, if Kickstarter had a matching pool, like that's a whole other
and it rewards strength in numbers. So I think you gave the example earlier. If all three of us submitted a proposal to Gitcoin and we each got 100 EOS contributed to us individually, like for our proposals, whoever had more contributors. So if I got 100 EOS from 100 different people, Martin got 100 EOS from 50 different people, and Daniel got 100 EOS from one person. Like it's gonna get, we're all gonna get different grant matching. The more people you contribute,
let's say that again. How many did you get, Zach?
We all got 100. I don't remember the numbers.
we all got
check out
100.
This, yeah.
WTFisQF.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
.com is it?
So Blockcrafters is asking, this is just for EOS, not EOS.io, right? So EOS.io is part of EOS. Like open source code especially could benefit all ecosystems, but in your proposal, there should be an EOS implementation of the software, the plugin, or whatever it is you're developing, but that doesn't exclude it from being used on another chain. Like if you want to build some atomic assets integration that's super awesome and it's beneficial to everyone, some new API, and you could use it on EOS or Wax, fine, use it on EOS and Wax. It's great. But as long as like it's also being used on EOS. And I don't know how strict, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know how strict everything's going to be, but it should benefit EOS in some way, but that doesn't mean it can't benefit EOS.io. There's no exclusivity here as long as EOS is part of it.
Right.
Yep. I just made a quick hypothetical scenario here, going back to quadratic funding and the power of it. Let's pretend we have a matching pool of $1,000. There's 4 projects that have participated. The first project The first three all raised 10. Let's just remove this grant. Let's say there's 3 participating. Keep it simple. They all raised $10 from the community individually. The first grant raised 10 $1 donations. They're going to get $769.23 of that $1,000 is going to grant number 1. Compared to grant number 3, raised the same amount, $10, but it was only from 1 contributor. They only get $76. Grant number 2 is somewhere in the middle there with the 153, two $5 donations. So that's just a quick illustration of the power of quadratic funding.
Right, I will drop
and
this.
That's just a $1,000 matching pool. Remember, we're going to have $500,000 in our matching pool.
Woo! A lot of moolah.
Chris Barnes was asking, what is the periodicity of each Pomelo round?
Periodicity, is that even a word, Chris?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Can someone Google that for me, please? I don't have a dictionary.
I guess he's asking how long one round will last. Will they all be like the same? Will they be? Are we still working on the
3 months per round, and it's basically about a month. Maybe over time we'll actually, if you look at Gitcoin, I think they're like the active part of the round is closer to 2 to 3 weeks. We wanted to give a little bit more time in our first round to, we got to warm up the community a little bit, get them to see the power of this. Seeing is believing, get them to start participating and let the stragglers wander in towards the end. But we're going to have about a month of active round and then 2 months following of, administrative and kind of winding up and preparing for the next round. But there's going to be 4 rounds a year. That's the plan. At once, 1 round a quarter.
Okay. Jonathan Ortega, is the ENF the only donor for the first round, or will there be? Is there another one, or will there be future donor matching partner? I think he means.
Yes. So ENF is the only matching partner for round 1. We are discussing with other matching partners for potentially funding future rounds, but nothing to announce yet.
And even if there were other matching partners, I think $500,000 is, like you said, Kevin Iwaki's reaction from Gitcoin. He's like,
whoa, are you sure?
Even if more capital was available, I would advise against stacking it in season 1. Because it's going to get attacked, and each round it's going to get more battle tested, and then the ENF and any fellow grant matchers in the future, it'd be more effective then than now. I think 500,000 is more than enough for the amount of proposals I'm expecting and the understanding of that there will be attacks that happen that we'll have to deal with. So, and
you mentioned this, Pomelo is a public good in itself. So, our goal is to continue reinforcing our Sybil defenses and offer that as a public good to the community. So it's a big important part of this. During that 2 months, what we're doing is also reporting, like learning and then sharing what we've learned with the community. Writing up exactly here's what happened and why we made the decisions we made, and here's what we saw and here's what we didn't expect, but we'll now be prepared for the next round. And if you read through, Gitcoin does the same thing. After every round, they kind of publish a retrospective, and you can see here are the projects that got banned, and here are the ones that were the gray areas where we seeked community feedback on, and here, the new features we're going to be adding for Sybil defenses based on what we learned, and they treated it kind of as like a red team versus blue team. We're constantly battling against the Sybil attackers. Blue team is increasing their Sybil defenses. Red team is learning how to Sybil attack, and we're all getting better as a result. And then at the end of the day, what you have is a strong system to be able to fairly distribute based on, again, our goal is to be able to distribute the matching pool based according to the will of the EOS community. Not according to the will of the Sybil attacker.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think these were most of the questions that I got from Jana. Thanks, Jana. Also for the Pomelo link drops. I couldn't drop links, so Jana just did that. If you see any link from EOS Nation, the stream host, you can click it. It's gonna give you a Finny NFT. I think we have two.
Are we
Finny
dropping
NFTs
any in
out.
the community chat too, or are these going on the live stream YouTube channel?
They're gonna go on a live stream later on. I will go into the Discord and I drop some more there. We have one more golden pomelo to go out. Yeah, this is a long show. So, and we will have more.
You got a whole another party to host today, don't you?
Yes. We have some activity going on in the Discord later. We have the M&A team we are hosting the stage at the Metaverse Music Festival with .gems, and we partnered with M&A for like 1 day of showing the best talent or major talent that they have there. 4 hours of M&A party. It's going to be in Crypto Voxels. We're going to stream this to the EOS Nation community Discord though, to create more vibe, come together. You can also join us in the Metaverse, in world.
Crypto Voxel is hot right now. I just saw all these metaverses are reaping the benefits of the Facebook meta path. I just saw the Crypto Voxel tweeting, wow, we got like thousands of new members today. People are discovering the metaverse for the first time. If you haven't checked out the Crypto Voxels yet, and you're what the hell is a metaverse? I'm sure our EOS community, they're OGs, they probably know. But check it out if you haven't. It's pretty cool. Join us tomorrow in the community Discord. Building. The Discord is one place to build a community. The Voxel is another place to kind of feel more. We're all over the world. COVID season, we can't get together in person. So things like Discord and the Crypto Voxel gives us at least some way to feel more together. It's been really cool.
And we are hosting events
seeing the stuff happening there. Yeah.
It's a real event. That's the beauty of it. And anyone that wants to learn, like I think the M&A party is
digital meetups.
We stream it into the Discord. You can join into Discord, and then we can show you the ropes, how to enter, how to dress your avatar. We will drop some sick wearables. We made some
NFT wearables
for M&A. Yeah, you can dress up your avatar with some really limited edition gear. Like these M&A headphones, they are super rare. And it's like, they are proof of attendance tokens dropping all the time. It's going to be a lot of fun. So one reason to join the Discord is to join the M&A party happening at 8 p.m. PST today. So that's something that I'm excited for later on.
Speaking of that brings us to the NFTs.
Yeah.
Can I squeeze one thing in? Pretty important thing we didn't get a chance to talk about. There's a pretty important rule here. Don't Sybil attack us. That's breaking the rules. Don't pretend you're somebody else. Don't impersonate someone. If you're project seeking funding, be who you say you are. It's also important that we're because of the nature of quadratic funding, we don't want to incentivize voting for projects for rewards, for example, rather than voting for projects that's the project I want. So it's against the rule, for example, as a project seeking funding to offer value. Hey, vote for me and I'll give you this. That's something we're going to be watching out for, and it could impact whether you're eligible for matching funds or not, if that's the case. I had lots of people asking about NFTs. What about NFTs? Can I give NFTs to my supporters? I want to show appreciation to my supporters with an NFT. As long as it doesn't have value. So like a proof of participation kind of NFT, like a sticker sort of thing. Just the sole purpose is show the world that you donated to me. That's okay. But if this is some like yield earning NFT, or that's big no. So be careful. We're going to be watching for that sort of thing. Don't offer incentives to users for voting for you.
We will find you.
Okay.
And we're not, the cool thing about our community is we don't have to, like, you can flag stuff too. So there's an incentive for all participants to participate in monitoring, because everyone wants the biggest share of that matching pool as possible. So if you see someone breaking the rules and you flag them and they get disqualified, that means more matching for you. And we do have the ability to report whenever you see someone breaking the rules. You can report it, paste in, hey, I saw this tweet here, them offering kickbacks for votes. That's again, that might get you disqualified from getting your matching allocations. So be careful.
Awesome. Yeah, and shout out to Martin Mad. He was there last night when we had the first day of the Metaverse Music Festival. That's going to be a lot of fun. Sorry, I got distracted by the chat. People have a good time. All the links are out. Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Which chat? This is the YouTube chat. Damn, I'm watching the EOS community chat in Discord and missing all the fun on the YouTube chat.
Yeah, we're moving it over to the Discord once we end the stream. This is like 1 hour 45 minutes.
We keep talking about parties. I'm late to my niece's birthday party, so I actually do. I'm like way past my time. It's been fun, guys. I do want to do it again. Just ping me and let me know. Let's do a follow up.
Should we do the 1, 2, 3?
I don't know. I kind of abruptly ended. I keep looking at the clock.
This is everything EOS too, right? Everything EOS too.
It is.
Right?
So, it's also on there.
Yeah. We usually end the hot sauce with let's keep it spicy, but today for a special occasion, we keep it spicy. We kept it pretty spicy. It was hot and spicy right here.
We will continue to keep it spicy.
We continue to keep it spicy, but today I think we're gonna end it in the usual, in the best way, in the awesome way, as everybody feels it right now in the chat. Right, we're gonna go down from 3, 2, 1, and on 0 we go with 3, 2, 1. Go EOS! Cheers, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
See you guys all in the EOS community chat.
Yeah, we're gonna drop some.